You want to hear a wild story? One that I'll never forget? It happened on the day of my mom's funeral a few years ago. The night prior, my family and I all had a meeting about our assigned roles and the agenda and how we were going to handle the funeral. All we asked for my brother, who was living out west and came in for the funeral, is for him to pick up my aunt, my dad's sister, from her house where she lived alone with her dog. My brother agreed, no problem. Next day, a limo shows up. The whole family gets in except for my brother. And we get to the church and we start doing the things that you do when you show up to a funeral. Greeting people, making sure everything's okay, meeting with the clergy and all that good stuff. A few minutes later, the funeral service is about to start and my brother walks in. We ask him where our aunt is. And he said, "Oh, I sent an Uber for her." And I'm like, "An Uber? You were supposed to pick her up." He said, "No, she'll be good." The service starts, and a few minutes into the service, I get a text message. It's somebody asking me to call them. It's an emergency. So I excuse myself from the front row of the church, go into the vestibule, and make the call. It's the Uber driver. Did I mention that my aunt had late stage dementia at the time? Okay, well, she did. The Uber driver lets me know that she showed up to pick up my aunt. My aunt never answered. She heard the dog barking. She became concerned and called the police. The police showed up with the fire department. They knocked on the door, and when my aunt didn't answer, they gained entry, forced entry. They looked around the house. They found my aunt upstairs in the tub, barely conscious. When they examined her, she was dehydrated and kind of almost passed out. She had diabetes and heart problems and a whole bunch of other stuff. So they gave her an IV and they rehydrated her. Now they said she was fine, and she said she was fine. So the Uber driver asked me if I still wanted her to be brought to the funeral service. And I said, sure. And I really thanked the Uber driver and said we would pay her for her day, for her services. So I went back and sat down. Probably about almost 40 minutes later, my aunt shows up. She's at the back of the church. I go down the aisle, escort her up to the front row. We go through the service. The Uber driver agrees to take my aunt to the repast after the service, where food is served and everything. She takes her to the repast, and everything's cool. We gave the Uber driver a few $100s for her services and a tip on top of it.